Good evening. Please be seated. I'm Steve Miles, Provost of New College. And it's my great pleasure to welcome everyone to our 2013 commencement. This is truly an historic occasion as we hail the intelligence, the drive, the creativity, and the sheer good looks of the largest graduating class ever for New College, 197 strong. Graduates, this is your achievement, but you did have some help along the way from your parents and other family members who backed you up and who kindly paid tuition. Thank you. Thank you. From the dedicated and passionate New College faculty who taught you and advised you from first day to last, and who sponsored 197 theses and participated in 197 baccalaureate examinations. If that's not love, what is? You've also benefited greatly from the guidance and support of the New College Board of Trustees, the New College Foundation, and from the generosity of everyone who has contributed financially to New College. Tonight is a time for celebration, so let the ceremony begin. I'd like at this time to introduce those who join me on the platform. Moving counterclockwise from my left, Professor of Economics, Chair of the Faculty, and New College Marshal, Dr. Richard Koh. Vice President of Finance and Administration, Mr. John Martin. And in her first New College commencement, Vice President of Advancement and Executive Director of the New College Foundation, Ms. Shannon Duval. Florsheim Chair of Biology and Director Emeritus of the Pritzker Marine Biology Research Center, Dr. Leo Dembski. Moving to the back row, President of the New College Alumni Association, Mr. Robert Lincoln. Professor of Chemistry and Chair of the Natural Sciences Division, Dr. Paul Scudder. Dean of the Jane Bancroft Cook Library, Dr. Brian Doherty. Dean of Enrollment Services and Information Technology, Ms. Kathleen Killian. Moving across, Acting Registrar, Ms. Marta Moreno. Professor of History and Chair of the Division of Social Sciences, Dr. David Harvey. Professor of Philosophy and Chair of the Division of Humanities, Dr. Aaron Edidin. Interim Dean of Students, Mr. Tracy Murray. Chairman of the New College of Florida Board of Trustees, Mr. William Johnston. Our commencement speaker, who presides over the 12th Judicial Circuit Court of Florida, the Honorable Charles Williams. And finally, completing his first year as president of New College, the hardest working man in higher education, Dr. Don O'Shea.
Thanks, Steve. First of all, congratulations to our soon-to-be graduates. Very soon. We're very proud of you, each and every one. And I'll wish you congratulations when you come across. Welcome to your friends and families. And welcome to the many members of our extended community, faculty, staff, students, alumni, members of the board, members of the Board of Trustees and the New College Foundation, their friends, and friends of the college. And I especially want to welcome the Honorable Charles E. Williams, Circuit Court Judge of the 12th Circuit of Florida. I'd also like to welcome his wife, Jacqueline, and his daughters, Charlotte and Caitlin, who are both here as well. In his 15 years on the 12th Circuit Court, Judge Williams has earned an unmatched reputation for efficiency, impartiality, and integrity. He is known for his unswerving commitment, demonstrated time and time again, to upholding the rights of individual people in their dealings with powerful institutions. He held a bank in contempt for its improper actions in a foreclosure case against a teacher. He upheld a wrongful death verdict against a trucking company for the death of a man struck and killed on the highway. He threw out the arrest of a homeless man who was jailed for simply charging his phone at a public park. These decisions did not endear him to everyone. But Charles Williams is far more than a scholar of the law and a dedicated servant of our larger community. Unlike most judges, and I don't know too many judges, so it's as far as I know. I wouldn't want to exaggerate. He's also an artist. So, Judge, you should feel right at home here in New College. Judge Williams is the director and producer of documentary films. His award-winning movie, Through the Tunnel, examined the integration of two Manatee County high schools, very segregated, in 1969 through the prism of their football team, a team that became greater than the sum of its previously segregated parts. Judge Williams, and I want to say this directly to you, we also love and admire your work with the young people, your advocacy of fairness, of diversity, and the vital need to provide all people with access to justice and education. For those are the keys to allowing one to participate in and contribute to our society. Your life and your work reflect the core values of New College, and we are very deeply honored to have you here this evening and to count you as a member of the New College community. Judge Williams.
All right, can you hear me okay? I did not wear a hat because it was hot, quite frankly. And I felt kind of bad coming out here because, you know, I didn't want to break any protocol, but seeing the students, I feel a lot better about that. Now, before I begin, this is my first New College graduation. And I want to acknowledge, giving a commencement speech is pretty intimidating. And when Dr. O'Shea asked me to do it, there was a lot of trepidation. One of the things that as you go into the real world and you have to do public speaking, they're going to tell you that there are certain tips that you should use to be an effective speaker. The basic tip is to imagine your audience is sitting in their underwear. It's not a stretch today. So for that, I want to thank the students for making my speech. And there's a couple of students I'm actually going to be concentrating on if I do get nervous, who are actually close to wearing just their underwear. And this is the first commencement where there was actually a Jedi Knight. You know, there's a whole generation of people that don't remember Star Wars now, so I'm glad that you're here. There was someone with a horse's head. I thought I saw a horse's head. Very good. And then I can't comment because I'm not really sure what the rest of you are dressed like. I came very close to changing my speech and when I saw that you walked in. And I said, nope, I'm going to give the same speech. So I'm going to start it as if this was a traditional graduation ceremony. And I recall that I was given a certain amount of time, and I promise you I will stay within that time frame. It's not 2 minutes, so don't get too excited. President O'Shea, members of the faculty, Board of Trustees, distinguished guests, friends, and family, and on this evening, I hope that you will accept me into your New College family, so that we can all be family, at least for this evening. It is with great pride that I participate in this commencement ceremony of New College. And here is the gratuitous applause that I'm seeking with the greatest class ever in the history of this institution, the class of 2013. Founded in 1960, the mission of New College remains unchanged, and its mission is even more important today: to offer an undergraduate liberal arts education of the highest quality in the context of a small residential public honors college with a distinctive academic program which develops the student's intellectual and personal potential as fully as possible, to encourage the discovery of new knowledge and values, and foster the individual's effective relationship with society. The academics of this college needs no promotion from me. Each of you here today are a testament to the academic excellence of this institution. Different observers have viewed education very differently. Albert Einstein once remarked, "Education is what remains after one has forgotten everything he learned in school." I am not quite that cynical about education. I prefer to quote Nelson Mandela, who observed, "Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world." I speak to you today to celebrate with you your accomplishments. I recognize your being here today was no easy task. There was fear, anxiety, worry, sweat, tears, and serious concerns about whether you would make it to graduation. And I'm just talking about your parents. I realize that as students you shared these same emotions. However, you have persevered, and this has resulted in you graduating from one of the finest institutions of learning in the country. And I had made a note in my comments that this was going to be for gratuitous applause, but you know what? I really believe it. You are the finest institution of learning in the country. To the parents or those who hold that position, perhaps with a different title, congratulations to you. Being a parent, I know that you may have had some doubts at some point that these students' lives may not have ended up here. Maybe that incident in preschool, that meeting with the principal where you walked out screaming to yourself, "How could you have done such a thing?" However, you have done it, and you deserve the accolades that you receive by watching those who you love march across the stage today. To the graduates, congratulations. Give yourself a round of applause. Now that you are about to take the knowledge that you have gained outside of these walls, your increased intellectual ability brings with it increased responsibility. And this begins my message to you today. We all know and we have heard many times of those to whom much is given, much is required. We cannot accept that this wonderful education that you have received has been delivered only to give you an economic advantage in life. Do not get me wrong. All of you who have worked so hard should take advantage of the economic opportunities that come to you. However, there should also be more to your degree than that, and economic benefit is not mutually exclusive to those who are not fortunate enough to be where you are today. John F. Kennedy, in a speech he gave to Vanderbilt University during a time of much social upheaval in this country, told those students, quote, "You have responsibilities to use your talents for the benefit of the society which helped develop those talents. You must decide whether you will be an anvil or a hammer, whether you will give to the world in which you were reared and educated the broadest possible benefits of that education," unquote. So to you graduates, it is not lost on me that I have the great privilege of giving you your last lecture at this school, and for that I will be eternally grateful. This was on my bucket list. I can kick that off now, actually giving a commencement address. So I wish to take this forum as we celebrate your achievements to discuss briefly, and I mean briefly, what I feel is an issue that as individuals and as a society we need to focus on, and that is the increasing diversity in this country and the lack of diversity that still exists in our society. Now, I'm not talking about Jedi Knights or people with horses' heads. And I want to talk about diversity in our most cherished institutions, including education, and the opportunity for all people, regardless of background or circumstances, to have the opportunities that you have today to succeed. And I want to talk to you a little bit about your history. The road to diversity and inclusion right here in Sarasota shares a common history with New College and your predecessors. In the early 1960s, this area was a much different place. In making a documentary film a few years ago that you heard about, I spoke to members of this community about the last days of segregation. Great change in American society resulted from the impact of a Supreme Court case decision called Brown versus Board of Education, which was decided in 1954. That decision, in effect, ended state-sponsored segregation in public schools based on race. This decision had a great impact on Sarasota and emboldened the local community to seek to integrate other public facilities such as beaches and transportation. Although not as famous as places with names like Selma and Birmingham, Sarasota had its share of civil rights struggles in the fight against Jim Crow laws. And I need to define Jim Crow laws because when I made a run of this speech by someone, they said, "What's a Jim Crow law?" Those are laws that segregated people on behalf of their race. The colored water fountains that you see in those newsreels, the separate facilities and buses, those were Jim Crow laws. And that was the law here in Sarasota during the time that New College was first founded. And during a particular contentious period in this struggle, the schools in the black community were shut down briefly. The call went out for volunteers to help in newly formed freedom schools that local activists set up in churches. Among the first to answer the call for volunteers were New College students. So the commitment to using your talents to serve others, to ensure that they get the benefits of education, is etched in this school's DNA and in those who attend this institution, and is consistent with your mission. I recognize that the most important perception people must have in the institution that I represent is fairness. The idea of fairness is important for all of our institutions, including education. And history has taught us that we cannot always accept the status quo and consider it to be fair and just live with it. Prior to the Supreme Court's decision in Brown, everything from the beaches to cemeteries in Sarasota were segregated based upon race. And this was recognized as the law. This fundamental unfairness pulled this country apart and denied credibility to the United States until the Brown decision finally put the idea that a government sanctioning forced separation based solely upon race was inconsistent with our Constitution and our core beliefs. This country is still healing from those scars. So we have an opportunity today, and you have an even greater opportunity to help us to continue to heal and accelerate that process by embracing and promoting the ideas of fundamental fairness through diversity in all matters. Not just diversity and inclusiveness in regard to race, but in regard to religion, physical disability, gender, age, wealth status, sexuality, and most importantly, thoughts and ideas. We must look around at every gathering, including this one. Again, the horses' heads and the Jedi Knights aren't counting. And constantly ask ourselves this question: does this gathering truly represent the diversity of the community, the state, the nation, or the world that we live in? Are we doing all we can to be inclusive to all who may seem different, to welcome new ideas and a new way of looking at the world? This similar question needs to be asked in every environment and every community that you choose to live and work in after you graduate. I am pleased to discover that New College promises to continue to be a leader in this effort toward diversity and inclusion, as it was over 50 years ago with those students from here who volunteered to go into the community and to reach out to those whom at first glance shared very little in common, but on further review shared common beliefs that educational opportunities should never be denied because someone is perceived as being different. As long as education is denied to those who would most benefit from it, the poor, including those who live in this city of great affluence, the oppressed, both here and worldwide, whether the oppression is a result of racism, sexism, or religious intolerance, we will never reach our potential as a college or a nation. Until we are allowed to be educated and given the same opportunities that you have been given, we will never reach our goals. Not until then will we be able to have informed and intelligent debate about the problems affecting us all. So I would like to ask all of you, as the beneficiaries of this wonderful education, to see to it that education, which becomes the root of power and eventually the tree of knowledge, be planted and allowed to flourish in places that are at times hostile to such growth. A single dedicated individual is capable of accomplishing this task. And one such person is Dr. Azzeldin Abuelaish. Dr. Abuelaish is a Palestinian doctor, a Nobel Peace Prize nominee, who currently lives in Canada. In 2009, in Gaza, 3 of his daughters were killed when an errant Israeli shell hit his family's home during a clash between Palestinians and the Israeli army. Unfortunately, this all too common occurrence is not particularly remarkable. But what is remarkable was Dr. Abuelaish's response to this tragic loss of his daughters, Bisan 20, Mayar 15, and Aya 13. Instead of seeking revenge or sinking into hatred, Dr. Abuelaish called upon the people of the Middle East to start talking to each other instead of hating each other. It is Dr. Abuelaish's deepest hope that his daughters' deaths will be among the last sacrifices on the road to peace. Dr. Abuelaish would go on to write a book about his experience and titled his book, I Shall Not Hate. Dr. Abuelaish's memoir, translated into 16 languages, has spread his message of justice and nonviolence to a global audience. He established the Daughters for Life Foundation to advance the education of girls and women in the Middle East in the belief that lasting peace depends on empowering young women through education, irrespective of nationality, ethnic background, or religious affiliation. I am proud to take this opportunity to advise you that the Daughters for Life Foundation and New College are working toward an agreement that will hopefully, beginning in the fall of 2014, bring up to 10 students each year from the Middle East to this campus. With a particular focus on students from Palestine, Israel, Jordan, Egypt, Syria, and Lebanon. President O'Shea and the faculty of New College, along with Dr. Abuelaish and Dan Boxer, deserve special recognition for spearheading this effort. For as you can see, as it was almost 50 years ago, when those first New College students volunteered to teach in those freedom schools, inclusion of all people in education is the first step we must take before the healing can begin. Of the three branches of government, I may be the only government official on the podium. Unfortunately, I do not have the authority to declare today New College Appreciation Day or give you the key to the city. For as only a new college student would immediately point out, that authority is vested in a different branch of government. I can, however, render a judicial opinion. And that opinion is that New College, in addition to having an outstanding reputation academically, as represented by each and every one of you this evening, including the 1 Truman, 2 Goldwater, and 6 Fulbright scholars, in this class. New College has a reputation of producing and nurturing active and engaged students outside of the classroom. The dedication you have shown in your devotion to this community, in terms of your public service and programs such as Habitat for Humanity, VISTA, along with your work tutoring students in local schools and the individual initiatives, too many to name, you have launched to make our community better and more inclusive. This is a product of the diversity of thoughts and ideas that has made a real difference here. I ask that you keep that activist spirit with you as you leave here today. Sometimes agitation can be a good thing. It is a part of who you are as New College students. And to paraphrase Frederick Douglass, keep agitating. On behalf of all of Sarasota and all the people you have touched during your time here, I thank you. In closing, let me remind you that I started by saying we are family. And like all families, we may occasionally argue with each other and disagree. But like all families, we should support and encourage each other. We should always stay in touch. We should comfort each other in times of sorrow and celebrate with each other in times of joy. We should get together every now and then and celebrate our oneness. And you should always remember where your home is and do not forget your way back. As a member of the New College family, you are here at home now, but it is now time for you to leave. To quote Thomas Wolfe, something has spoken to me in the night saying, to lose the earth you know for greater knowing, to lose the life you have for greater life, to leave the friends you loved for greater loving, to find a land more kind than home, more large than earth. And with those words, take care, class of 2013, and may God be with you.
So thank you, Judge Williams, for those lovely words, and the necessary reminder that education is never just about oneself. And now, I'd like to invite to the stage a student representing the graduating class, Bree McLemore. Yeah, you do. 1 minute. Bree, who is originally from Tampa, studied anthropology and gender studies here at New College. Her thesis was on the criminalization of pregnant substance abusers and the impact for reproductive rights. In her free time, she worked as the education coordinator at the Sarasota Film Festival. And she now says, I don't know if this is true or not, that she's devoting most of her recent days to her cat and reading graphic novels. Bree, it's true?
Can everyone hear me? Okay. So for months, every graduating student before you has been plagued by one question: what to do next? This question gets asked at dinner parties, family gatherings, and during professors' office hours. Many of us still don't have an answer. Many of us cannot predict what will happen in the years to come. I'm here to tell you that that's okay. We are surrounded by discussions of high levels of unemployment, the rising cost of living, high interest loans, and accumulating debt. If we turn on the news, our future looks pretty bleak. However, this is not the case. I can honestly say that every student I've encountered during my 4 years at New College has a bright future ahead of them. As I stand before you all today, I can feel both the anxiety and the excitement that comes with graduating from college. On one hand, there's a sense of exhilaration that comes with not knowing what's in store. On the other hand, it's just plain terrifying. While I am in no position to offer advice, if there is anything you take from this speech, let it be this: be lost for a little while. Be lost for a little while, because this is the only time you can really afford to do so. Do not feel rushed to meet the status quo. You can do that on your own time, or not at all. And never feel that you are not good enough, smart enough, or talented enough. New College has instilled in us the will to succeed and a desire to do so. And while we might not have a GPA, we do have a thesis, and I, for one, think that's pretty damn impressive. So when they scoff at you for having a liberal arts degree, do not listen. When the governor of the state of Florida tells you that your major is worthless, do not listen. And parents, do not be alarmed. While we might not have it figured out right now, New College has given us the tools to figure it out someday. I would like to end by saying thank you to everyone who has attended today, and this faculty and staff for all that you have done. Mostly, I would like to thank this year's graduating class for this wonderful opportunity. I consider it a pleasure and an honor to walk across this stage with each and every one of you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Bree. Our next speaker, Dr. Leo Demski, needs no introduction for most of you. He was the Florsheim Chair of Biology, and he's the Director Emeritus of the Pritzker Marine Laboratory. Leo is a gifted teacher, a brilliant researcher, a talented administrator, and a dedicated conservationist. Over the past 2 decades, from the classrooms here in Sarasota to the waters of Honduras, he has quite literally changed the lives of hundreds of Novo collegians. He is retiring from the faculty this year, and we will miss him very, very much. Leo, please come forward.
Thank you, President O'Shea. I feel like it's the right time to be leaving. The tide's going out. I can smell all the sea creatures out there. You should remember that smell. That's the smell of life, and that's what we do, some of us. Study that. And I have been instructed, or should I say warned, to make this short. And for a long-winded professor, that's not easy. But important things are usually simple and don't take many words to express. So I wrote them down, and I even have a red line here where the note says, no tangents. In other words, today I will not tell you about the unique brood pouch of the pipefish, even though I'd like to. Graduates, just like you, I'm moving on to a new beginning. After teaching and doing research for all the years that you heard about, actually 42, it's a bit frightening to know that the world as I know it is quickly going to change. And I'm not sure what this new place will be like, but I know that entering it is a bittersweet experience. Some of the old me will surely be missed, like the joy of seeing the miracle of learning take place as a new marine biology student says, wow, or perhaps is speechless as they look for the first time through a microscope at the teeming life struggling for its existence on a rock they just pulled out of the bay. It's rather dramatic, actually. Barnacles can be fun. Of course, the memories will be there, and it's always great to hear from ex-students as they carry on their lives and they keep in touch with you. So some of you, I'd like to hear what's going on later on next year or the year after. Certain other things like teaching evaluations, correcting grammar, or chairing the SASC, I've already begun to forget about. Fortunately, my new position as emeritus professor will allow me to remain part of this wonderful academic community and to engage in activities I enjoy, like watching fish and writing about them. Hopefully, some of these experiences I will still be able to share with students. I must thank my colleagues in the administration for providing the support for me to continue as a scholar at New College, and while I'm thinking about it, the unbelievable reception party they had last week for myself and my family. And to Joyce, I will value my squirrelfish picture forever. Of course, I'm also looking forward to some more time for other things like music, kayaking, and even making some home improvements that haven't been done for like 15 years. So graduates, what of you? I imagine my sentiments resonate with some of your feelings about the past, present, and future. Your journeys are just beginning while mine is being completed. And as one who's traveled a few pathways, I'll give you a few thoughts that might be useful. Even when you're not sure which turn to make, trust your judgment and learn from the wrong choices. Always think of making a positive difference in your world. Enhance the lives of others. Be a trusted friend, colleague, mentor, a hard worker, a great boss, a healer, and never forget that family are special. As we move forward tonight, each of us does so having greatly contributed and gained from this community, which we share now and will continue to be part of no matter where we go. In closing, I must mention I sincerely regret that we don't have a football team. As an ex-high school defensive player, it would have given me great satisfaction to hard tackle an ex-running back and ex-New College president named Mike Michelson. I wouldn't challenge him with words. Anyway, thanks so much, New College.
So graduates, would you please stand up again, please? Sorry. So, upon recommendation of the faculty of New College of Florida, and by the authority granted in me by the Board of Trustees, I hereby confer on each of you the degree of Bachelor of Arts. Congratulations. So would Marta and Kathy come forward, please? Oh, okay.
Hannah Elizabeth Ackerman. Adam Kareem Afifi. Claire Louise Albius. Lauren Candace Ali. Carlos G. Arias. Joey Arrigo. Moshe Ash. Jessa Rose Baker Moss. Lucas Ballestín. Taria Elaine Bardwell. Logan Robert Bartholomew. Nope, sorry. May Tooks Beckman. Helena Lily Benedict. Nolan Ezekiel Benson. Kira Berman Gestrin. Brandon Michael Berry. Hayden Hudson Bickerton. Derek Roland Black. Miranda Lee Black. Brenton D. Boland. Seth John Borden. Lauren Miller Brenzel. Bryce Robert Bresnan. Olivia Rose Brockmeyer. Andrea Gabrielle Brody Barr. Jessica Ray Brosh. Hannah Elizabeth Brown. Lauren Nicole Brown. Elizabeth Gail Berger. Stephanie Jasmine Calaval. Jordan Ashley Campbell. Lily Helene Carboni. Beth Roberta Carroll. Great. Andrew Michael Cerny. Trisha Antoinette Chua. Michael Edward Conlon. Chelsea E. Corrarito. Laurel Brianna Corral. Elliot M. Countess. Elizabeth Ann Crate. Jasmine Rose Crenshaw. Reese Crone Crispin. Elizabeth Adler Crowell. Laura Ann Cunningham. Zoe Martine Cunningham. Matthew Alexander Cutler. Sarah Kristen Cutts. Evan Ruben Darrow. Heather N. Dimmitt. Alexander Thomas Duff. Mary Veronica Dunkelberger. Samuel D. Eastham. Mar Echevarría. Joshua G. Edelstein. Zachariah Noah Eidelman. Juan Roberto Elías del Hierro. Fabienne Prisca Eli. Elliot Wright Evans IV. Molly Caitlin Farr. Mallory Lauren Fenn. Roger Blakeney Philmeyer. Gail Ann Fish. Adam James Flowerday. Renee Foss. Megan Kyle Gauthier. Michael Parker Getz. Evan Giomi. Ariel Dunamis Gonzalez. Michael J. Gonzalez. Brittany Pierce Gordon. Tessa Robin Grisel. Salome Sabine Grassland. Eva Aurelia Gray. Marianne Banks Greenberg. Sonali Gupta. Lorna Ashley Hadlock. Ian Kilburn Hamilton. Lisbeth Hughes Hampton. Samantha Joy Hanna. Janardhan Das Hayton. Marisa Abbott Herman. Erica Lee Zachary Michael Hills. Samuel Benjamin Hoare. Nicole Hokiam. Rebecca Marie Holmes. Todd Matthew Huckabee. Daphne Renee Hudson. Zachary Robert Hudson. Max Adriel Imberman. Aaron Callanan Jays. Deirdre Ann Johnson. Morissette Laura Youngerson. Lauren Roslyn Kell. Javier Francisco Quiog. Kathleen Rose Kiker. Benjamin Daniel King. William Mulvey Kingdon. Ziona Catherine Cocker. William James Coaches. Elena Devi Corrales. Andrew Corbin Kotick. Stephanie Nicole Kaunaki. Nathaniel David Langston. Erin Chantel Lapeyrolery. Courtney Hamilton Lapeyrolery. Stephanie Katharina Larumbe. Stephen Beach Leatherman. Kenneth Peter Lee. Claire Elizabeth Letman. Lawrence Todd Levine. Anna Alice Lewis. Laura Josephine Libby. Penelope Lorelei Lindsay. Audra Eleanor Locicero. Monique Marie Lutz. Rosalia Meyer Katkin. Emily Michelle Martin. Alejandra Martino. Catherine Elizabeth McAlpine. Samuel Ethan McCammon. Crystal Moonchild McLean. Michael Gerard McGurl. Sarah Rachel McKnight. Brittany Danielle McLemore. Benjamin Philip Merlino. Matthew Christian Metzger. Emily Arden Meyer. Chloe Elizabeth Morin. Jacob Daniel Morton. Justice Devin Mills. Lacey Jordan Ross. Emily Rebecca Myers. Mia Newell. Catherine Thomas Newton. Amelia Beryl Norden. Nicole Maurice Nugent. Dara Jordan Ausher. Jake D. Paiva. Ashley Renee Parks. Maria A. Phillips. Jessica Lynn Ploss. Christopher Calvin Pullman. Rebecca Lynn Portzig. Zoe Nicole Posner. Mackenzie Leah Pryor. Timothy David Richardson. Rachel Diane Roach. Graham Tanner Robert. Estefan Antonio Rodríguez. Jack Dennison Rogers. Benjamin Joseph Rooks. Stacy Nicole Raudebush. Jordan Elizabeth Royal. Wendy Renee Rucci. Kaylee Livingston Rule. Emily Bryn Ryan. Pani Kaur Sandhu. Nicholas John Santamaria. Ariel Deva Sher. Eric Douglas Schmidt. Willis Chapman Schuler. Morgan Benjamin Shafter. Madhuri Nitin Kumar Shukla. Ruth Louise Silliman. Jahan Christian Sinclair. Travis Everett Small. Alex June Smith. Allison Marie Smith. Keith Raymond Summers. And Sophie Stabler. Bárbara Suárez Galeano. Andrew Ford Swain. Rosana Tavares. Jillian Hannah True. David Michael Turin. Silvia Elena Ulloa. Valeria Stefania Valbuena. Winona M. Venter. Shelby Alicia Vonhoff. Gregory D. Washko. Diana Watson. Rachel Lisbeth Weisman. Sandra Faith Werb. Colin Michael Wilga. Stephen Montfort Wilcox. Alexander Steve Wilson. Jacqueline Teresa Windsor. Louis Ezra Winstanley. Peter Rice Wolf. Cassandra Jessica Wood. Mariana Lucia Zapata. Irene Despina Zervas. Sophia Jade Zimmerman.
So, at this time, I think it's appropriate to congratulate our newly graduated, no longer students, our new graduates. Please congratulate them. Okay, please be seated. So I also think it's appropriate for our newly graduated students. You've done an awful lot of hard work, but none of you have got here on your own. And so I think it's appropriate to express your appreciation to the faculty, your families, and all who have supported you in your progress towards graduation. Finally, I'd like to thank the Manatee High School Jazz Band, who played the entry ensemble, who played the entry music, who played their recessional music. I'd also, it really does take a village. I'd like to thank Alan Dawson and his crew at the physical plant, student affairs folks. The student affairs folks, and finally Shelley Wilbur of my staff, who's in charge of everything. And Judge Williams' final words from Thomas Wolfe remind me of some other words of Wolfe's. I think it was from Look Homeward, Angel, and that I would offer as one final piece of advice to you. Make your mistakes. Take your chances, look silly, but keep on going. Do not freeze up. Good luck to all of you, and stay in touch. And now, will the platform party, the faculty, the graduates, please stand for the recessional? And I'd ask the other members of the audience to stay seated until the graduates, the faculty, and the platform party leaves. Everybody is welcome to the reception at the tent behind this. Thank you. I declare this commencement closed.